Phony arrests and fabricated confessions. Explosive allegations against some police officers in a small town in South Florida. We're live with what officials are saying tonight.
I made mistakes. I own them.
Heated testimony on Capitol Hill today. The president's former personal attorney testifying to the body he's convicted of lying to. What he's telling lawmakers now.
NBC6 responds to homeowners waiting weeks for a refund after a company closed. Find out how we were able to help.
Live, the news on NBC6 at 6 starts now.
It was an arrest record worth bragging about. The only problem was it was a lie. Falsified arrests, fake confessions. It was all part of a massive corruption scheme.
Well, officials say that it was a couple of rogue cops behind the scheme in Biscayne Park, all part of an effort to boost the department's statistics.
NBC6 anchor Dan Grossman is live right now in Biscayne Park. And Dan, this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, Jackie and Juan, from the years 2010 to 2014, the village's police department were able to solve 89% of its burglary cases, while the national rate during that same time was only 15%. The Miami-Dade County public defender says in many of those cases, the department completely fabricated some confessions, pinning some of these crimes on black people in the community he says it knew were innocent.
This has shaken me to my bones.
Words did not suffice.
Evil, abhorrent, atrocious. There's not enough adjectives in the English language to describe what was going on in Biscayne Park.
Suffice to illustrate the full magnitude of corruption that happened within the Biscayne Park Police Department between 2010 and 2014.
I don't know that there's any way that we can undo all the harm they did.
Falsified confessions, wrongful arrests, and pinning crimes on innocent black people inside the community to boost department statistics. It was all laid out at Miami-Dade's Community Relations Board meeting Wednesday.
It really undermines the entire system, and it undermines our faith in the system.
Public Defender Carlos Martinez has studied the wrongdoing religiously since word of it became public last summer. The village's then chief, Raimundo Atesiano, was sentenced to 3 years in prison for his role in the crimes in October, but the damage was done. The goal Wednesday was to find ways to reverse it and fix it.
This was an opportunity for me to, create positive change and drive positive change.
Now Chief Luis Cabrera says he's replaced 90% of the department, created patrol zones to increase accountability, and implemented new policies to regain public trust, so he doesn't need to find the words to describe acts like these again. 3 other police officers in the Biscayne Park Police Department were also charged along with that now ex-chief. There was a representative from the state attorney's office in that meeting today as well. He says the department is looking over dozens of reported crimes from that 4-year span, looking to expunge the records of some of those they say were wrongfully accused. Reporting live from Biscayne Park this evening, Dan Grossman, NBC6 News.
My loyalty to Mr. Trump has cost me everything. My family's happiness, friendships, my law license, my company, my livelihood, my honor, my reputation, and soon my freedom.
A dramatic day on Capitol Hill. The president's longtime personal attorney and fixer giving hours of testimony to Congress. The body he is convicted of lying to. NBC6 political reporter Steve Litz has been following the testimony all day long. He joins us live in the newsroom with more. So, Steve, what stood out to you here?
Well, there were several things, Juwan, with Mr. Cohen being questioned on a variety of topics, and there were some explosive moments on Capitol Hill. Mr. Cohen, you may remember, once declared that he would take a bullet for President Trump. Publicly now turning on his former boss, Republicans say Cohen is an admitted liar and can't be trusted. Michael Cohen, President Donald Trump's former fixer and lawyer, flipped on his former boss today in a tell-all session before the House Oversight Committee with a bombshell opening statement.
Mr. Trump would often say this campaign was going to be the greatest infomercial in political history. He never expected to win the primary. He never expected to win the general election. The campaign, for him, was always a marketing opportunity.
Weston Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a Democrat on the Oversight Committee, drilling down on the president's possible connection to Russia.
Based on what you know, would Mr. Trump, or did he, lie about colluding and coordinating with the Russians at any point during the campaign?
Was there something odd about the back and forth praise with President Putin? Yes, but I'm not really sure that I can answer that question in terms of collusion.
Wasserman Schultz's line of questioning shifted to the email hack of the Democratic National Committee.
Mr. Cohen, is it your testimony that Mr. Trump had advanced knowledge of the Russia WikiLeaks release of the DNC's emails?
He had advanced notice that there was going to be a dump of emails, but at no time did I hear the specificity of what those emails were going to be.
Republicans were more harsh with their inquiries and eager to discredit Cohen, who is headed to prison in part for lying to Congress.
The first announced witness for the 116th Congress is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for lying to Congress.
No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility.
President Trump in Vietnam with North Korea's Kim Jong-un tweeting about Cohen. He is lying in order to reduce his prison time. Though Cohen's testimony will not reduce his sentence, Cohen says he lied to Congress because he believed the president wanted him to. Testimony now over for the day. This was the only day of public testimony. Cohen now back behind closed doors tomorrow to wrap up his marathon 3 days on Capitol Hill. Live in the newsroom, I'm Steve Litz, NBC6 News.
Steve, thanks. A man accused of impersonating police to pull off a home invasion facing a judge today. Prosecutors are charging Iglesia Ramirez with home invasion, kidnapping, false imprisonment, falsely impersonating an officer, and burglary.
The defendant provided a full confession.
Police say Ramirez is one of 2 men who pretended to be FBI agents and then robbed a home in Miami Lakes last month. The crooks told the residents to stay inside the bathroom while they ransacked the home, making off with $30,000 worth of jewelry and sports memorabilia. The second suspect is still on the run.
Well, day 2 in the trial of former Palm Beach Gardens police officer Newman Raja. He's accused in the shooting death of musician Corey Jones. Now, prosecutors showed investigators video of Raja reenacting what he says happened leading up to that incident.
Hey man, police immediately just stepped back, and I remember clearly seeing that gun over that they were playing right at me.
Now, that was video of Roger saying that he had identified himself as a police officer, recorded soon after the shooting. Well, prosecutors argue audio from a recorded roadside assistance call proves that Raja never said he was a cop. In the video, Raja also claims that he was on the phone with 911 when he shot Jones, but prosecutors say that he did not make that call until 30 seconds after the gunfire.
He's been the subject of public outrage and lawsuits, but now former Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School Resource Officer Scott Peterson has come face to face with a survivor of that shooting, and now that student speaking to NBC6 investigator Tony Pipitone. Tony?
Jackie, Kyle Kashuv was a junior at MSD in a building adjacent to the 1200 building when a killer struck and a deputy cowered, 70 feet away from the carnage, not moving for 48 minutes. Yesterday at the Broward Courthouse, Kashuv got to tell Peterson what he thought of that. Scott Peterson may have thought 7 hours of deposition yesterday was tough. Then he took a 1-minute elevator ride with former MSD student Kyle Kashuv.
Can you explain to me why I let 17 people die at school?
With his friend rolling cell video, Kashuv hammered away.
It's disgusting. It's despicable.
Peterson didn't respond, but many others did. After Kashuv tweeted his video, 10,000 retweets and 28,000 likes, including from former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, who praised his courage. Speaking by FaceTime from Washington, where he'll present at a conservative political conference on school safety and the Second Amendment, Kashuv told me why he confronted the disgraced, now former, school resource deputy.
It was his job to go inside, and he let 17 people die. 14 of those are kids. 3 of those were unarmed individuals who actually ran in when that was his job.
He told Peterson as much.
14 of my classmates never come back because you didn't ask.
Peterson is now collecting a pension of more than $104,000 a year, something a state legislator has filed a bill to revoke, and Kashuv agrees.
He didn't do his job, and I think it's preposterous that this individual gets $104,000, which I would consider blood money, when he didn't do his job.
Kashuv is a senior at another school in Broward this year and has emerged as a leading voice for young conservatives, a counterweight to former classmates who have promoted greater restrictions on Second Amendment rights. On this issue, Peterson's inaction during the attack, they have largely found common ground. Reporting in the studio, Tony Pipitone, NBC6 News.
Tony, thank you. Well, the Florida Chamber of Commerce announcing a new coalition aimed at strengthening school safety. Leaders came together today in Tallahassee to reveal the launch of the Institute for a Safer Florida. A group will focus on issues surrounding mental health along with school and workplace safety and security. The group hopes of better communication between various organizations with the goal of preventing more mass shootings in Florida.
Governor Ron DeSantis is promoting a tool to help drive down the price you pay for health care. He wants to set up a statewide portal so patients can see health care costs and options before receiving care anywhere in the state of Florida. It's a portal similar to Memorial Regional Hospital's online site where patients can choose a body part and view treatment prices with or without insurance. Governor DeSantis says he has a number of insurance providers on board and he's working to add more.
Well, a potential fight developing over fracking and drilling in Florida's Everglades. A court decision earlier this month gave a South Florida family the authority to drill an exploratory oil well in the Everglades just west of Broward County. The land in question is owned by Cantor Real Estate and stretches between Miami and Fort Myers, but there are still hurdles to clear before drilling can begin there. Now, that decision is getting some backlash today. Today, opponents came together to voice their concerns over fracking and oil drilling in the Everglades. NBC6 reporter Amanda Placencia breaks it all down for us from Miami-Dade College in Hialeah.
What the frack? We do not need fracking in Florida.
A stern message to those who want to drill in the Everglades. A panel of local leaders and environmentalists coming together at Miami-Dade College on Wednesday, opposing fracking and oil drilling.
It's really bad for our environment. It puts a risk to our water quality.
Recently, a Tallahassee appeals court approved for the drilling of an exploratory oil well in the Everglades just west of Broward County. The court reversed a decision by Florida's Department of Environmental Protection, which would essentially allow Cantor Real Estate to drill on their land. That move sparking outrage among these environmentalists.
This is just another example of how not only oil and gas companies, but really companies in general, want to tap into the Everglades and the small, tiny pockets of oil that we have here, and really are putting time and time again profits over people.
These advocates say it's not just wildlife and the river of grass that are threatened, it's our source of drinking water too.
The Everglades is a World Heritage Site. It's a global treasure. It's unique in the whole world. And it's our water supply. 1/3 of all Floridians count on the Everglades for our fresh water. So we really can't take risks. We can't play around.
Governor DeSantis, who has vowed to ban fracking, briefly weighing in on the issue as he left an event on Wednesday.
We appealed it. We're going to try to stop it.
Now, the Department of Environmental Protection announced that they are seeking a rehearing on that proposed oil well in Broward. Reporting at Miami-Dade College in Hialeah, Amanda Placencia, NBC6 News.
All right, now NBC6 did attempt to reach out to Cantor Real Estate Group, but our calls were not returned. So what exactly is fracking? It's a process of extracting oil and natural gas by drilling a well down into the ground and then pumping high pressure water and chemicals into that well. Now that liquid is pumped in at a high enough pressure to break the underground rock, releasing trapped oil and gas, which is then pumped back out along with the wastewater. That wastewater is highly toxic and even radioactive, is typically stored in pits on the fracking site.
A home warranty business shut down, leaving some customers waiting for a refund.
And my first thought was, wait a minute, I just paid for this for 2 years.
Well, after the break, consumer investigator Sasha Jones helped them get their money back and finds out what led to the refund holdup.
Plus, spring break is right around the corner, and police are sending out the warnings to make sure everyone celebrates safely.
Well, right now, really busy in terms of rain across northern Broward County. Some of the showers spilling now into central Broward, even southern Broward. I'll show you what's going on in Dade as well, plus our weekend forecast ahead.